Buenos dias, buenos tardes, if you're on the East Coast. Jennifer, Cambodia, welcome. Chops, welcome. Continuing, this is day 2 of 365. And I just stayed in Genesis this morning, got through chapter 4, got to Cain and Abel now. You had to ask yourself at all times, do you believe every single piece of ink in this Bible? And so, Adam is created, God gives them a helper and a wife and Eve, and then they are fruitful, they multiply, they have Cain and Abel. And what hit me today this morning was, as soon as the population doubled from 2 to 4, then we had murder. It didn't take long to have the first death in man's creation. And I started thinking to myself, this is just me, right, internally, man, I am not far from this bloodline, and I have the same issues as Cain had. In chapter 4, verse 5 and 6, Cain is bringing, and Abel, his brother, bringing offerings to the Lord. And God just looks and has some favor on Abel, and Cain is jealous. And in verse 7, verse 6, God notices that and says, to Cain, why are you angry? Why is your face downcast? And in verse 7, God says, if you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must master it. It is so, so, so difficult for me to master sin, man. I need a savior. I need someone to save me. And he says that to Cain in verse 7. And in verse 8, Cain attacked his brother Abel and killed him. It didn't take long, right? And then I saw his, Cain's punishment was to be cast away from God in the Garden of Eden. And Cain's reply to that was, Lord, my punishment is more than I can bear. Man, my sin is more than I can bear. What I said earlier, I was thinking about, if I believe every single piece of ink in the Bible, what does the Bible ultimately tell me? It all points back to Jesus. Ultimately, Cain needed a savior. Now, God, in his infinite wisdom and glory, knew that, because before he even made Cain, he made a way to see him. That is Jesus. We saw that yesterday. I saw that yesterday. But man, I had to go in this morning. It was good. So I love y'all. Day 2 of 365 in the books. Comment on what you got in out of all this too, please. Jennifer, Chops, Cambodia, anybody else. And join me again mañana. I will do it otra vez. Breakfast with the King. Love y'all. God bless.